Welcome to the Fellowship of the Script, the podcast where we dive deep into the craft, struggles, and stories of filmmaking. I am your host, Eric Bowder.
And I'm Ben Escobar.
Whether you're just starting out or you've been in the industry for years, this is the place for real talk about the art and business of film. Today, we're doing our monthly Q&A, where we answer questions from our Patreon members that are tier 2 and up. It's going to be a fun episode.
That's right. I'm excited to answer all these and discuss where you guys' heads are at. I should say I'm in a new area today. I'm actually cat sitting for a friend at his house, and so if you see a cat, or a Sphinx cat to be specific, named Baby, that's who that is.
You're also using AirPods as your mic, so I'm
I
curious
am,
to see how
yeah.
it turns out. But let's get into the first one here. Isaiah Nichols is one of our associate producers. He asks, when writing a script, should you be thinking of your budget? What do you think of that, Ben?
It depends what kind of script you're writing, I'd say. The way I always put it is, are you writing to shoot or are you writing to sell? And if you're writing to sell, it doesn't necessarily mean like get paid for the script. It's more of like selling yourself or like demonstrating your work as a writer and like as a, engaging creative. At which point, no, don't necessarily think about your budget unless it's like nonsensical to the course of the movie. Like if you're writing an indie coming of age and then out of nowhere you have this crazy spectacle like Starfighter ship shows up and it just is like, where the hell did that come from? Yeah, obviously like try to have some kind of self-awareness there. But I think if you're writing to shoot, it depends on your situation. Like where is your money coming from? Is it going to be crowdfunding? Are you paying for it yourself? What's your comfort level of paying for it for yourself? Is somebody else paying for it, like an investor? At which point I would say, yeah, constantly everything is about the budget, but also think about the budget of your skills rather than your money. As in, like, can you get an actor to go that far with, what you're writing that scene to be? Can you let yourself go that far as a writer or director? And like, is this practical? Like, not even monetarily. I'm talking like emotionally, creative, like technically everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously I've been writing scripts for myself to direct, and so budget has always been in mind, especially the one that I'm working on right now that I have a first draft of. It's supposed to have under $100,000 budget, so I'm very limited. And so the first thing I thought of was like, okay, I don't I can do all one location, or maybe I can try and find another location that's going to be easy for us to get. It's not going to cost us a bunch, and then that maybe balances out the pacing. But I know that I can't have like a bunch of locations, because every time you have to do a company move, that takes time, that eats into your shooting time, which overall affects the quality of the film. So there's a lot of things to take into account if you're writing for yourself to direct or act in, or whatever the circumstances are surrounding you making this project yourself or with people that you know and you have access to. So with limited resources, you got to think about, what kind of things can you realistically do without sacrificing quality. Like I thought about possibly doing some drone shots for this film, but then I looked into the drones we would have access to with the resources we have, and they weren't going to match up with the camera we're using well enough for me to feel like it was worth the investment. So there's things like that to take into account. A big thing for me is driving scenes. If you know anything about production insurance, every time you do a stunt, there's a weapon involved. There's car driving. Every time a car drives off, it's like $400 just to do that scene. So it can add up really quick. So that's
Mhm.
why especially with these two films that I've written most recently, Around Midnight and Always Ready, there's not really a lot of like cars driving. Like maybe they pull up, things like that. But another thing is like having a conversation in the car while it's moving. You're either going to have that car towed, or you're going to have to get one of those booths where you're going to, have the screens on the sides, and so it'll look like you're driving. But then you have to take into account that there's a lot of things that go into making that look realistic. So yeah, I mean, I could literally talk about writing for specific budgets for hours. There's all kinds of things to take into account. But I did see I saw a video recently that I found interesting where this guy said, if you're not sure what budget you're going to have, then don't limit yourself, because once you find out what budget you do have, you can scale things up or down. So if you're not sure what's going to happen with that script, I would say don't limit yourself. If you're going into it knowing that you're going to have a specific budget, right for that budget. Um, I think that's a good rule of thumb.
That's a really good way to put it. I also want to add on to that question. Um, do you, and I want to ask you, Derek, is there an experience you can think of when you did the due diligence of your budget, technically, creatively, monetarily, and then on the set, you realize you overshot and you had to like change, or not overshot, like you shot too much, but you overestimated. And did you have to, what was that experience like change on the fly? Because I think it's important to know that you will never get it 100% right. I think your budget and like the money, but also the technical craft. And there was always something that's going to change in real time on the set. So like, what's like a time that yeah, maybe.
Okay, well, I think with Pollo Loco, since that was my first film, I definitely wanted to give myself safety nets, and so I definitely, I think, used more budget than I needed, but that resulted in an overall better finished film for a first project. I think with Hunters, it was kind of the opposite, where it was like, okay, I'm going to limit myself to 10K, because I asked I essentially drafted up a budget, and I went back to these producers who brought the script, the initial draft of the script to me, and said, "Hey, this is what we're trying to do. What do you think we need to make this?" And I gave them three budget ranges, but it was like 5K, 7,500, 10K, and I said, I won't do it for if we have less than 5K, but I highly suggest going with that higher end, because that's what will give us the best finished product. And it was a pitch, and they ended up liking how the 10K version sounded. And since there was three people splitting it up, and then I said that anything I went over on that, I would cover myself. It would come out of my pay as the director. That was a unique circumstance, but you know, um, I think as you get more projects under your belt, you're going to get better at budgeting, and you're going to get better at sticking with the budget. If that makes sense. And yeah, no, it's, I mean, there's directors like Clint Eastwood and Christopher Nolan who are very notorious for coming in slightly under budget. So, but these guys are titans of the industry. I mean, Clint Eastwood, I can't believe he's still making movies, but he's still coming in under budget, which is why he's still able to make movies, is because it's not necessarily like the safest bet. I think Cry Macho, that came out during the pandemic, because of the way they released it, was like a huge bomb. But even Christopher Nolan kind of saw something like that with Tenet. So I don't know if you can blame that one on him, on the filmmakers, as much as the circumstances. So
Mhm.
I guess that's kind of a long-winded answer to your question, because I kind of had to think about it. But yeah, no, I think the projects that I have worked on have taught me about how to budget more correctly. So
I could see that. Yeah, it's a tough thing, but you should go in knowing you're never going to get it right. Also, always like over plan a little bit and try to like just yeah over plan as much as you can. There's been like never truly a day where I could say I had like a perfect, like the set went perfectly according to plan, like exactly as it was in my head. And by that, like technically and like logistically, yes, I've had those days. Quite a lot actually, as of recent, which is very nice. But like creatively, where it's like I'm always having to compromise on like for like practical reasons of like a location of like if I'm shooting in a bathroom, for example, and there's like a bathtub, like a clawfoot bathtub. This is like an actual thing I shot. The space of that room and the sizing of it and like the camera placement with the tripod, with the DP, with like the monitor and all that stuff, it's always bigger in my head. And then when you're there on the set, you're realizing, oh shit, okay, everybody's got to leave, or the DP can't even stand there on the camera. Okay, we can't even put it on a tripod. So then therefore we have to change the angle and stuff. Like it's always good to be ready for that. I had a really good memory though on this film, Infiel, which I shot like on a dock, like a little like small boat dock, fishing dock, and I had an entirely different like uh, final shot planned and like ending, and the size of the dock was way like smaller than I thought in person, and the shots I was trying to get, like the close ups, weren't. We would have fallen off the boat, and it was way too risky for the DP to like stand in balance. It inspired such a wonderful, like the ending is so much better for what it would have been, because now it's like, okay, I had to think about it on the spot and was like, okay, let's just put the camera back where we can, and then let's just change, what shot does that look like, and what is the action in that new shot, and then that is the final shot of the film, and it's perfect, and it's what makes the film actually. So I don't know,
Yeah,
just be prepared to be proven wrong, and it's always going to be a good learning lesson.
yeah, things are always going to change. There's going to be factors that you don't take into account. I mean, I think I remember talking to Ben about his experience with that film, Infiel, right?
Hmm.
That's how you say it?
Yeah,
Um, you said that there was like people that would go by on boats and you'd have to stop for them. I'm sure that's not something
yeah,
you thought about, beforehand. Um, I mean, very similar. The last shot of Pollo Loco wasn't originally going to be what it was. Remember
right,
the
right, right,
special effects
right.
guy was like, he's got a tattoo. You want to like throw it in there? And I'm like, that sounds
Yeah,
awesome. Let's do it. And then the chicken stepped on it, and it was just perfect.
yes, you couldn't
And
have
so I was
planned that.
like, yeah, it's happy accidents. I think to wrap this question up, because we have a bunch more. The one thing that you should definitely do is like go location scout, find go to the location you're going to shoot at with your cinematographer, um, and make sure that you're not going to have any issues with fitting a camera somewhere that you envisioned. The location's never going to be exactly like you pictured in your head unless you have the money to have a set built, which I think a lot of people starting out are not going to have that, luxury. So just there's a lot to keep in mind, but it's good that your head's in that place, Isaiah. So thank you for your question. Tommy Slays, another one of our associate producers, asks thoughts on the Anaconda trailer.
Dude,
I
I loved
I
it.
think it's great. Yeah. I
Yeah,
much better than I expected originally hearing the premise. It's giving me Tropic Thunder vibes. Yeah, like a little bit,
absolutely.
you know?
And a little bit of like Naked Gun, but not in like the same style of humor, but just like, oh, this is going to be a comedy that's actually funny, and I'm excited to see this.
It looks
Which
like it
I
has
can't
just
say.
enough like realism to the plot to like make it believable. It reminds me of Jack Black did another movie called Be Kind Rewind. Have you seen that one?
No, what is that?
He's working at like a video rental store, and they get the idea to like to remake all of their favorite films from their childhood. So they do like Ghostbusters and like they do a bunch of them. I saw it a long time ago, but it reminds me of that because they're like remaking a movie that they love.
Wow, and he's like
You
a
know,
director in Be Kind
it's like
Rewind.
it's like him and his buddy doing it themselves.
That's so funny because
But
I
that was
thought his
super
Carl
low budget.
Dunham, yeah, I thought his Carl Denham role in King Kong was his only directing role, but like it's funny that he's like a recurring director, and that's so funny. I love
Well,
that.
I think the thing that really came through in that first trailer was that I mean it's gonna be a great one for people who want to be filmmakers to see because at the beginning they literally are like, we have the passion, we want to make this movie, but we need like $2.5 million to do it, and then they go to like get the loan and they're like, you're approved for like 10,000, and they're like, I
Yeah,
guess we're shooting it indie style. That's
yeah,
like
I love that.
it's like that is what it's like. The snake looked really good though, for being CGI, at least from the little glimpses we got.
It totally did.
That shot where it's like looking through like their like RV window or something like that is totally
Hmm.
like I nobody steal my idea, but I really want to make a horror movie that is about Bigfoot. Like I really want to do one of those. And so like the idea of like being in an RV and like Bigfoot's just looking through the window is like terrifying to me.
Yeah.
So that kind of gave me those vibes. I'm like, dude, I hate snakes. So to see like this giant anaconda just like like look at staring you down through the window, I'm like, hell no, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
excited.
that's we need a good Bigfoot movie. Like, because Bigfoot is like, I feel like he's a meme more than he is like a true like nightmare or like
There's some,
someone's biggest fear.
yeah, there's definitely some like legit horror movie Bigfoot films out there, but they're really low budget. Like I saw, there's definitely more like campy, comedic, like on the nose Bigfoot horror movies than there are like serious ones that are like,
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm sure has one been. I can't think of any that have been done from a found footage point of view. There's a video game. I can't remember. I think it might be called Bigfoot, but it's literally like you're hunting Sasquatch and you set up cameras and all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe
There
someday.
there's an early film called Schlock, which actually is John Landis's first film, the first
Hmm,
directorial debut, and he actually plays Bigfoot as well. Um,
that's awesome.
and it is actually the spawn of the iconic Bigfoot image of like the him in
The guy
motion, like
walking.
in black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually John Landis in the Schlock costume. Fun
Wow.
fact.
Yeah. No,
So
and I would 100% want to do it with like a practical costume. Like you got to go get some 6'4" tall dude to play it. And
you got
but
to
it's like
commit.
it's all about the atmosphere for me. Like I often think about the kind of movies I like, and we're totally off topic from the Anaconda trailer, but that's fine. I whenever I'm like, okay, we've seen that movie before, but we haven't seen it like this. You know what I mean? I think that's where the
Yeah.
creativity comes in, and yeah, it's I don't know. There's so many different projects that I would love to take a crack at down the road,
Hmm.
and this is one of those movies where I'm like, wow, they decided to go such a different direction with it, and I think that's why it's working. You know, because they could have done another serious Anaconda movie, but
Right. I don't think it would have done well, but like this, they deserve to do really well. I really hope everyone goes and shows up and like they get rewarded, and that's like a good sign for okay, we should be making more movies like this.
yeah,
So
it's. I'm glad comedies. It looks like comedies slowly making a comeback.
thank
Um,
God.
and this one looks like it actually has a decent budget, and I think Paul Rudd and Jack Black are a great duo. And gosh, what's his name? The other guy that's in it too, who's from like Diary of a Wimpy Kid, plays the dad. I can't. Why am I not thinking of his name?
Oh yeah, I'm not.
Steve Zane. Steve Zahn, is that his name? He
I'd have to
is
look it up.
so underrated, so underrated. So I'm happy to see him in that. I was like, of course they put him in this because it's like just his kind of style. He's in like Daddy Daycare and stuff like that with Eddie Murphy. Um, anyways, yeah, really excited for Anaconda. That is probably the movie that I'm most looking forward to for the Christmas season, which is funny because it doesn't feel like it's a Christmas movie, but
Right?
um,
Everyone's supposed to say like Hamnet or some shit.
yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks for your question, Tommy. Super Dude 01. Interesting question here. What makes a film a masterpiece or almost a masterpiece? What do you think, Ben? I'd love to hear your take on this.
I don't know. I think it's fairly subjective. It's um
Definitely.
it's something in between, you know, for me, I think it's how much does it inspire me? How much do I see the artist behind it? How much do I see this being like a real human experience, I guess, and feeling like, wow, I like, do I feel well fed, I guess, afterwards? Or does it feel like junk food and, I have to go use the restroom and shit it all out? I, you know, it's, I don't know. I think it's subjective. I think if you're asking me what I deem a masterpiece, inspiration, engagement, and also inevitability. I think the ending, like sticking the landing into something that's inevitable, unexpected but inevitable, is really hard and really rare. And I want to reference Uncut Gems without spoilers. That I think that is the quintessential like ending that I can think of recent memory that really like hit me and made me say like, oh wow, this is a perfect movie. Lurker also had that vibe. I wasn't like I still think Uncut Gems is better than Lurker, but like Lurker has a very daring ending that's like really makes you think and sit there in the when you're watching the credits and then before you know it, like the credits are over and you're like, what the hell? Like, why haven't I left the theater yet? And you're like by yourself. I love those moments. So I think a movie like that. But what about you?
So I think it's got to check a couple of boxes for me. One, it's got to make me feel something, right? It definitely has to make me like experience emotions throughout it. I think it has to be technically well planned out. Like it has to look very intentional all the way through. Like it shouldn't start to feel repetitive with any kind of like camera movements and stuff. Like, oh, the whole movie is handheld or something, you know? Um, but story wise, it should definitely leave me with a lot to think about. Whether it's like, whoa, that really meant a lot, or whoa, what does that mean? Um, which you can go too far in either direction. You know what I mean? Like a good example. I saw him. That we're going to talk about that soon. I think that movie did not leave me with anything to think about. But then I saw something like Sinners, right? Which I think is probably the last masterpiece, quote unquote, that I think I've seen. Sinners just, I mean, it left me with so much to think about and kind of like engrossed in that world. I really liked the world that he built, um, and the atmosphere of it. And technically, it was just a beautiful film. Um, and when I mean technically, I mean camera, sound design, um, lighting, all that stuff. I think performances, just like any other aspect, are subjective. I think that there are some actors who, it's like, wow, nobody else could play that character. But then there's some actors that are just really reliable. It's like you give them enough meat to chew on, and their performance is not going to stick out as like a weak point. You know what I mean? And yeah, no, I think at the end of the day, no film is perfect. Like The Thing is my favorite film of all time. I think that is a masterpiece. And if you go watch the commentary, they like poke fun at the things that don't really make sense. And it doesn't take away from the experience though. Like there's a scene where like Kurt Russell's like walking out of like his shack or whatever it is, and then like hears a noise and sees somebody run off from the helicopter. And then he just like walks over and picks up a flashlight. And it's like, where did that flashlight come from? It was just like there, you know? But you're not really like thinking about that in the moment because you're like, what is going on? Like he's going to investigate, like who ran off? What were they doing to the helicopter? You know what I mean? There's things to distract you from little things like that. But so I guess what I'm trying to get at with that is that to me, a masterpiece is a film that is so good in all those aspects that you're willing to overlook its flaws because there's always going to be flaws, you
I
know?
like that. Um, I think there's also like just yeah, the gut punch and the feeling. You just kind of know it when it hits you. Like I really felt that way with like the Souvenir Part Two. Just because like that ending, that final moment is incredible, and just like the entire achievement of the Souvenir, I think is really amazing. But like,
Never heard of that one.
um, it's A24's only sequel, unless you count like
Wow.
Meza too. Um, the Souvenir is like a semi like meta autobiographical movie about like a director's like experience in film school with a guy that she was heavily distracted by, but like heavily in love with, and then like without giving away spoilers, like kind of what happened as a result of that relationship to her and like with them. And um, but the director's like 60 now, having made that, and then she sort of puts herself in it in an unexpected way in the end. I think my first film. Oh my God, the movie, my first film, not my first film. I when I was making my first
Yeah,
film, I sure
Ben
thought
thinks
it was
his
a
first
masterpiece.
film is a masterpiece.
No, I sure thought I did at the time. But and you know what? It's got legs in its own right. Anyway, my first my first film, the movie that came out last year, by Zia Anger is like, oh my God, that is a masterpiece. If I've ever
It's on
fucking
my
seen one,
list.
I've
On my
yeah,
list.
that's like one main reason to buy a movie, I'd say. But yeah, I mean, the, I find like I like a lot of Palme d'Or winning movies. I don't know if you've like dive into a lot of those yet, Derek, but like they hit you with like a moment. If you're watching a movie that you know won the Palme d'Or, like by the end when like it really cuts to black, you just kind of like feel it in your soul of like Palme d'Or. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I definitely
And
felt that with Anora. Like, I remember seeing that the first time, and
sure,
everybody, like, the film ended, and everybody was just, like, murmuring, like, "Oh my gosh."
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so
It
much
pulls
emotion.
like
Yeah.
something vocally out of you, like whispers, like
Yeah.
"Oh fuck," yeah. And I felt that way with, I mean, several of them. There's like Triangle of Sadness. I really liked, and I can totally see why that got it. Blue is the warmest color. Yeah, unquestionably. Um, 4 weeks, 40 days, 3 weeks, whatever. That one about the abortion one is quite incredible. Plenty more where that came from, but yeah.
And then, to answer the second half of that question just briefly, what makes it almost a masterpiece? I think F1 is a good example of this. A movie that gets very close, but then maybe it lacks somewhere. For me, Lurker, I thought the third act, it felt a little rushed, and like it made it less satisfying for me, but it still left me with plenty to think of. F1, I think its plot felt a little recycled, to the point where rewatchability isn't there. Um, Whereas Sinners, I saw it 3 times, and every time I felt like I experienced the same emotions. I picked up on more things. There's and again, it's subjective. I think Signs is a masterpiece, but people really like to debate the idea that the aliens in that, their weakness is water, and they came to a planet where it's 70% water or whatever the number is. But then you can debate that, like, they're not actually aliens, they're demons, and the water is holy water, because there's a whole thing you can go into there. And I think a masterpiece also, it causes people to have debates for years to come. I think Oppenheimer, I think that's probably Christopher Nolan's, like, masterpiece, first, like, real masterpiece. I mean, I guess The Dark Knight, you can argue, but there's you can nitpick things, like the fact that they recast Rachel in that one just bothers me for some reason. Um and that's, I guess that's not really something they had a lot of control over, but yeah, I mean, we could talk about that in a whole episode if we wanted to, but I don't think we need to, because it's very clearly, the answer is, it's subjective. You can think something's a masterpiece and other people don't, but the thing that I think is most important is there's enough there to have a discussion about it and argue both sides. Um
You learn
yeah.
something new every time you watch it is a really good way to.
Yeah. Or every time you watch it, it still has an effect on you. Which, there's plenty of movies you watch it a second time, like F1. The second time, it didn't hit me as hard. But Sinners, every time I saw it, I thought Top Gun Maverick was very close, but there was definitely some ambiguity in the plot. Like, you don't really name who they're up against and stuff like that. That, to me, left me, I don't know. It's like it was missing some sauce on top of the meal, that really, like, complemented everything. But yeah, as you can see, we can get really nerdy about that. But I think we answered the question. Um, yeah, let us know in the comments. What do you think is a masterpiece? That'll be an interesting one to see. Yeah. So before we answer some more questions, quick ad break, and then we have some giveaways to announce the winners for. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Spotify, the Apple Podcasts. Leave us some ratings and reviews. Follow us on social media. I go by at Danny Dorito 23 everywhere. Ben goes by.
At Real Ben Escobar or at Genie Boy Games.
And then we also have a free Discord that you can join, where we also do a little more rare than the Patreon giveaways. We do special giveaways for milestones, like we did one for hitting 100 subs. Come talk about film, talk about what's going on in your day. Just don't start drama. And you're, more than welcome to come hang out with us and talk. I am in there all the time, so I see everything. I don't always chime in, but I always see what's going on. I pay attention to it. That's a place where you can interact with both Ben and I. Join our Patreon, where we have exclusive giveaways like the ones I'm about to announce the winners for today. You can also get producer credits, and you also get the ability to submit questions like the ones we're answering in today's episode. That is for the $3 tier and up. Yeah, there's so much value to that Patreon. go check out the benefits, decide how much you would like to, donate to that and enjoy your benefits. But keep in mind, if you do the annual subscription, you do save 15%. It's pretty cool. And then don't forget to use G Fuel code Danny D for 20% off. They've been a really cool partner to be sponsored by for these last couple of years. And as a filmmaker, those late nights, it's definitely helpful to have some trusty caffeine by your side. And G Fuel is, in my opinion, one of the best tasting energy drinks out there, especially in powder form. Speaking of that, I have been addicted to the new formula. I am like, I only have a couple tubs of it, but I gravitate towards it because it really is such a huge improvement. So check out the new formula. They're coming out with new formula versions of their flavors like every month. Like Nuka Cola just came out, and I'm about to try the new Sage mode. Really excited. Ben is excited for the new Snake Eater flavor inspired by Metal Gear Solid. That
Yes.
is the new formula. It is
I'm so
honey.
excited for that.
Yeah, it looks awesome, dude, and it's honeydew green tea, which I'm sure you're excited about because you've been on a green tea kick. So,
Dude, I love green tea out of nowhere. That's like my biggest takeaway this year is a sudden obsession with green tea. But like, yeah, it's the most me G Fuel drink probably since like Maiden's Blood. But like, obviously, like, I don't want to get into why I like Maiden's Blood. I think it's self-explanatory. But
it's a good flavor.
yeah,
I
yeah.
like
I
it.
also used G Fuel code DAD and it saved me like $12 or something. Pretty good for a collector's
Yeah.
edition box and free shipping. I felt like I got away with a steal. So
Yeah, it's they're doing like free shipping on any new formula items, which pretty soon they're going to be all of them. So, it's free shipping if you spend more than 55, and also they have been throwing in free shockwave shakers if you buy like new tubs. So, they
cool.
got a lot of good stuff going on, and they're coming out. They literally drop something new like every week. I think I have like 3 boxes to open downstairs, and they're all a new flavor. So they are the best. They have so many options, and yeah, get you some. It's great stuff. You won't regret it. And then we have 3 giveaways to announce. So every month for Patreon members, there are if you subscribe at the tier 1, you get access to a special Discord giveaway. This month it is a 4K copy, 4K and Blu-ray copy of Jaws, which I would argue is a masterpiece. So there you go. Somebody's got a masterpiece here. Tommy Slays, congratulations, man. I will be reaching out to you
Oh,
so you can get your copy of Jaws. And then if you subscribe at tier 3, you get access to the US only G Fuel tub giveaway. And this month it is a tub of Mango Explosion, which is supposed to taste like mango candy, and it's pretty damn good, man. I gotta say, this one is going to. I'm gonna try to pronounce this. Cy Olarzik. I don't know if I said that right, but congratulations, Cy. It's CY, right?
cool.
Cy,
I
Kai,
don't know.
Kai or Cy. I let us know in
Kai
the
would
comments
make
if we said it
sense.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kai. Congratulations on your mango explosion tub. And then we do have an international giveaway for tier 4 because shipping is expensive, but and not all countries get G Fuel shipped to them. So this is your opportunity to try G Fuel if they don't ship it to you. The international tub this month is a tub of clickbait, which is cherry pomegranate. To me, it tastes like cherry Kool-Aid. So it is a good flavor. That is going to Cal, who I believe lives in Canada. So congratulations, Cal, fellow filmmaker. There you go, man. Some more G
Awesome.
Fuel for your late night filmmaking sessions. I will be reaching out to those giveaway winners within 24 hours. This is going up on Sunday, so expect to hear from me on Monday, giveaway winners. Thank you for your support and enjoy your giveaways. Now, on to 2 more questions, and then we're going to wrap it up. Speaking of Cal asks, which filmmaker always delivers, in your opinion? Like every time you watch one of their films, you know it's going to be good. I'll go ahead and say Christopher Nolan. I don't think I've ever been let down by Christopher Nolan. Denis Villeneuve is probably another one. I don't think I've been let down by one of his films either. What about you, Ben?
Um, I'd say the Safdie brothers for me right now. Either them together or individually. Like this year, we're getting 2 Safdie brothers movies like separately. So it's like Smashing Machine is Benny Safdie, and we have Marty Supreme from um, Josh Stafty, which is going to
Yeah,
be
we're eating good this year.
really, yeah. And I'm trying to tell like which one of them looks more of like a Safdie brothers movie, if that's weird to say, because this is their first time directing separately.
Right.
And I think from the trailer, Marty Supreme is giving more uncut gems and good time than um, I'd say Smashing Machine. Smashing Machine still feels like a
Feels
Benny
a little more
Safdie or like a Safdie
mainstream.
brother. It does, and almost like it was the cinematographer, like the best friend of the Safdie brothers that did it. But even though it is like kind of it is Benny, I'm very very excited to see that one. It's one of my most anticipated. One of the really cool things they do on set, I was like watching a behind the scenes thing, like kind of the way they create chaos that I noticed both of them do in the trailers is they need to have people constantly talking. And if somebody's like not talking, then that's a problem. And it's like talk about something, fill in the empty space. Where like I think that clip where Dwayne is like or I forget the character he's playing, but you know he's like talking about how the guy's giving him Tylenol or like ibuprofen, and he's like,
Yeah,
"You want
yeah.
some Tylenol?" They're handing him out like
Yeah,
candy,
like
and he's like,
candy. Yeah, yeah.
"Yeah," and he's like constantly like. You can just see the scene of like
Yeah.
she's gonna bounce back with like why don't I fucking candy like no it's just like candy and like you cannot have a moment of silence. I really love that style and that's just yeah I'm never
That
disappointed by those guys.
that's a good pick. I'm surprised you didn't say Sean Baker as well. But
Yeah, he's good too, reliable.
yeah, well, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what Sean Baker does next because up until Honora, I mean, it felt like he was really working with shoestring budgets, you know? Um,
Hmm.
but the one other thing to say about Benny Safdie before we move on, I saw a picture last night and it was like, I saved it because I was like, that's inspiring. It was two side by side pictures, one of him at the premiere of the Smashing Machine in his suit looking like, you know, spiffy. And then it was the premiere of his first film and he's at like a theater. I don't know if it's for a festival or whatever it is, but apparently the film was only playing for 1 week. And so he's out there with like chalk on the sidewalk pointing to him and like a bunch of stuff about his movie. And he's got like one of those, you know, those signs that open up kind of like the wet floor signs and they sit on the ground and they have
Yes.
like posters and stuff on them. He has like a bunch of stuff for his film, but he's wearing it and he's like he looks like he just got out of bed and showed up and he is actively promoting his film trying to get people to go in and watch it. And to me that was just like super inspiring to see that he was like in the trenches just trying to get people to go see his movie any
He
way he could.
always, yeah, he's always doing some weird stunts like that. Like he showed up as like a silver like Tin Man to like one of the talk shows to promote I think Uncut Gems or something like that. Like he always does or like no not Uncut Gems like The Curse or something he was doing with
Yeah.
yeah, really inspiring stuff. I'd say oh also Julia Ducournau. I love Julia Ducournau. She's the director of Raw and Titan and this new one that's coming out called Alpha. She's one of my most like my favorite up and coming directors. Not everybody's favorite, but for me, she's
What's
like
Alpha about? Because there was a film called Alpha that I heard about, but I don't know. I'm thinking of the
it's
same one. Okay, different one.
it's
No,
about
wait.
like the HIV crisis. This does it have like a
Okay.
girl with like big lips on the cover, and she's like kind of
No,
like
it's
covered in
the one that
ash.
popped up was from 2018. Okay.
Oh, okay,
No, I haven't seen any of her films, but I hear a lot of good things about them. So
yeah, I
is it
love
like
Raw.
is
Oof.
she really into like body horror? Is that
She is. That's her thing
yeah?
every time,
Okay,
and
I
it's
like
always
body
like
horror,
something
so
really. Yeah, you. I think Raw is a great way to start. I mean, you. I'm sure you know the premise of Titan, right?
yeah, yeah. Isn't she like in love with a car or something?
Yeah, and she gets
Yeah,
impregnated by a car. Won the Palme
that's
d'Or, actually.
crazy.
Um,
But I mean, just listen to that, guys. If you think your idea is like too out there, it's literally not true. Like you can make a movie about anything. It's all about the commitment to it, you know. If you can get if you can get your audience to suspend disbelief by building the world well enough and making it believable, you can do anything. You know, I think the idea of Pollo Loco, like on paper, sounds a little far fetched, but you know, I saw a lot of there was I can't remember the name of the festival. They literally send you like a like a compilation of the festival judges like reacting to your film and talking about it. and a lot of them said that, like, the performances made it matter and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, that's just another example of how you can make something that might sound far-fetched believable, you know? So, don't limit yourself because you think something sounds silly or too far-fetched. Passion over anything. Over everything. Yeah, hopefully I think that answers your question, Cal. Our
That's such a
last
good point. Sorry, I just
Go
want to
ahead.
say, like, that's such a good point. Like, that's the main feeling I get when I watch a Julia Ducournau film is like, I like wrote it down in my notes after seeing Titan. Like, don't be afraid of your own voice. Like, if you have the idea of like, what if the girl got pregnant by the car, and where do you take that? Like, do it because you might win a Palme d'Or and make a good movie. That's a yeah,
There's a
really
there's a
real shit.
movie called there's a movie called Rubber about a tire that has, like,
Yeah,
telekinesis, and it's very
yeah.
entertaining. Very silly, but very entertaining. So, I mean, you can literally make a movie about anything. So it's all about commitment to the story. Um, yeah, great question, Cal. Kai asks, "What are your thoughts on him? Does it look interesting or another big budget geezer teaser?" Which is a joke that he's calling back to from Cool Ranch Corner. So just to so that people aren't confused, I got the definition of geezer teaser here. A geezer teaser is a pejorative term for a low budget action film often distributed direct to video or via streaming that prominently features older, famous male actors in its promotional materials, but only in very small roles within the film itself. Bruce Willis did a lot of these. And then, like, where he's literally in the movie for like 5 minutes, but he's like the biggest one on the poster. Um,
Stallone and Liam Neeson do
yeah,
this all the time.
there's a
Yeah.
bunch of them. Yeah. Um, which that was very funny. But my thoughts on him, I did see it before I go into it. Ben, do you have any thoughts about it from like the trailers you've seen, or
I was going to see it. I was actually really highly
I think it is
anticipating
worth
it.
seeing for you.
Really? Okay. I
It,
mean,
it's
it's
it's the style and like the experimental aspect of it that I think you would respect because they are doing it on a
okay.
pretty big budget.
I,
You
I, I
know,
did. I really liked the concept of the trailer because I've never seen a sports horror movie, and I think that's a really fascinating concept. And I think that we should not stop there, even if him, wasn't as good as it was. But it's become now in my head something that I call a homework movie, which is like a movie that does like mildly well or semi-successful at the box office that like people are talking about and like pretending that is like better than it actually is. And now I have not seen this movie, but you know what I mean, where it's like there's people who will be like, your their relevance comes from how much the movie made at the box office rather than the quality of the actual film. And I've noticed amongst like meetings with executives and stuff like that, like as a film fan who maybe did not like him, or perhaps you like hated him, if him makes that money, like that's good this weekend, and like maybe second place even under like Demon Slayer, which is what it's looking like. That director, like to a fan, you're just like, oh God, he must suck. He must be horrible. But like to executives, that guy's like hot shit. And we have to like, again, I'm not saying I'm pretending I have not seen this movie. So I don't hold an opinion, but like a lot of people just be like, oh, he's such a wonderful director. What an incredible voice. When it's like that's the box office speaking, but you just kind of put it off to the thing. So anyway, it's a homework movie. I'm thinking where it's like, okay, if it does well at the box
yeah.
office, then I have to see it because now people are going to say are going to
It's
pretend like
so
this
I
was
don't
all
know.
part of my plan.
I don't remember what the budget was, but I did see that it's only projected to make like 15 million, which I think is like underperforming. Um, Having seen it, I think if you're a filmmaker, it's definitely good homework because there are things about it that work and things about it that don't. For me, technically, it was impressive. From a narrative standpoint, like I said, it didn't leave me with anything to think about. The theme of the movie is literally on the poster. Greatness demands sacrifice. That is the movie in a nutshell. And so
Mm.
I guess the best way I could explain it is that it's kind of like Eyes Wide Shut meets Whiplash. but not as good as either of those films.
Wow.
There's
Okay.
3 writers on it, including the director, and it definitely felt like there was too many ideas to the point where there are scenes that just kind of start and end without, like here and there, sprinkled throughout. There were scenes that felt like they just started without any really like explanation to why thing that's happening or they're there, and then they would just end kind of like, okay, like, what are the ramifications of that on the plot? And it never really felt like anything. There wasn't anything that had like a huge impact. And it doesn't really give you a lot of explanation for stuff, which is frustrating for me because I love feeling like, okay, I've got some breadcrumbs. I think I know what's going on, but then it never really confirms anything, you know.
Mm, I see
And
that.
yeah, I think that's why there's a lot of people who are saying they don't like it. They thought it was a bad movie, is because it didn't leave them with any. It felt like they showed up for a 3-course meal and they were like, here's a salad and then yeah, no, just the salad. Like there was chicken on it, like that filled you up, right? And it's like kinda, but I was kind of looking forward to having like an entree and a dessert too, like but like I said, technically really impressed with the I think it's going to inspire a lot of people to portray like a psychological thriller that way. It does some really interesting stuff, maybe a little too much. There's a lot of shots that look
Interesting.
like X-rays, which I thought was really cool. Um,
Loved that from the trailer. That's what really
yeah,
hooked me.
there's a lot of that, almost to the point where I was like, there was one shot where I was legitimately confused about who was who, and then when it cut back to like normal footage, I was like, oh, that surprised me. Um, but yeah, it just the last act, the third act, I think is where people are either gonna love it or hate it, and I kind of fell in between, like, like I don't hate it, I don't love it because I think I know why it turned out the way it did. But it's unfortunate because the general audience is not smart enough to realize that the poster says from producer Jordan Peele, not from Jordan Peele. They just see Jordan Peele. And so a lot of people are saying like, "Oh, it's Jordan Peele's first flop." And it's like, "No. Like he's just the producer and his production company financed it." So, that's frustrating because it's like there's a director who is also a writer on this who like actually made this movie and people think that somebody else did it. That's frustrating. Um, and I don't think the
Extremely
marketing's doing it any
deceptive.
favors. Yeah,
I
but
question if the movie was even called Him in the first place because it's the
it is it
posters.
yes, I think it was because of the way that it's referenced in the film.
Oh,
I
really?
definitely
Okay.
think it, yeah, yeah, no, it's a good title. I will say that.
Interesting. I think like the marketing of this is like such a case study to remember when we talk about like deceptive marketing and like movies that are like bad that like blow up at scale. So like a lot of people don't like long legs secretly in the industry. But like we have to pretend that's a great example of a homework movie that like a lot of people are pretending like they like it and they love it because it made over 100 million and stuff like that. Um, I'm indifferent about it, but like
Same.
with him, it's just so insane to me how like I'm inundated with posters of him throughout LA. And I think you
Yeah.
saw someone when you were visiting,
Oh yeah.
but like the amount of like giant Jordan Peele font right next to a the title that looks like small
Yeah.
font that you can't read, that looks like from Jordan Peele. It's like, oh, it's his new movie. Like, why isn't anybody talking about it? Let's go see it. And yeah, they know what they're doing. They know they're getting away with
100%.
it, and they know that like the audience in Middle America, even if it's not LA knows the difference between a producer and a director. But like Middle America, who like I don't know the exact data points on Jordan Peele fans and like who where in the country the most people watched Nope and Get Out and Us. But like if it's outside of LA, especially people that don't go to the movies often, which is, I know for a fact, like a Jordan Peele kind of audience, because his movies like attract more than the average opening movie. Like, I just think it's insane what they're getting away with. Like, and especially like have a movie that's like supposedly not good. Like, you're abusing a platform. I think you're abusing like Jordan Peele's brand, and like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have a few opinions about it, but
I
I'll hold
think
my
if
tongue.
if you've seen the trailers and the trailers made you go, "Huh, that looks interesting," but I'm not really 100% sure what it's about. I think they very accurately represent the movie. but that's the problem is the movie doesn't really like say anything other than it's like very hammered in theme of greatness demands sacrifice, you know? Um, and so, yeah, no, I think it's definitely one to watch because it's interesting because I also think that for a movie like that, and I think we sit here and talk about it, but we're not studio people who get to make these decisions, so we don't know the full picture. But I think a movie like him should not be advertised until like the month it's about to come out because I think that it got buzz way too early, and that buzz died off, and then the initial reactions come out and they're lukewarm, and so then like it just all falls apart. Nobody's gonna go see it. Like for example, when my film Around Midnight is ready to come out, I'm not gonna start really hammering in that you can go see this movie until like a couple weeks before it comes out because I don't want to like start promoting it way too early and then people are like, oh, I thought that came out already, you know.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
hear that a lot sometimes. So like, oh, that movie didn't come out yet. Oh, is that on streaming already? And it's like, no, it just came out at the movies this weekend. It's not gonna be on streaming for a month, you know. um yeah, no, very interesting case study. um I would go in with an open mind. I think I was definitely, because I heard of the controversial third act, I definitely went in with lowered expectations, and I think I enjoyed it more because of that. 'Cause I didn't go in
Oh, really?
expecting more. Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
I will go see it based on your recommendation. I wasn't going to, but yeah, I'll give it a watch.
yeah, I think it's a fun one just to go experience. You know, you don't have to go in and be like, all right, I'm about to like, I gotta focus up here. Like, there's nothing really like too thought provoking about it. There's some things that it's like, oh, what did that mean? What was that about? But they don't really provide any answers. So it's kind of like an open ended thought. It's like, um, they did shoot it here in Albuquerque, part of it, I think. So that's cool. But
Would you describe it as fake deep, or like I'm r/I'm 14 and this is deep,
no, I would
or
I
like
would I would describe it as just shallow themes. Like it's very face value, you know. Um, but the psychological aspect of it, technically and story wise, was definitely edgy. But I think I'm seeing the word pretentious thrown around, and I don't know if that's really justified because I think it's really just about too many fingers in the pie. That's what I really think happened there. There's just too many people making the decisions, and sadly, that often happens to like up and coming directors who get a shot at like a solid budget like he did. Justin Tipping, I think, is definitely somebody that I'm going to pay attention to. But um, yeah, no, very very interesting, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments. Let us know. Did you see him? What are your thoughts on him? And yeah, did you think it was made by Jordan Peele? Because I can't believe how many people I'm seeing say that.
I'd love to know
Uh
that. I'd love to
yeah.
know.
But that's it for our Patreon questions. Again, if you would like to submit a question for next month, it is $3 a month. You can get 15% off if you subscribe for a year. And yeah, we're gonna do this every month. So um, yeah, thank you for those who submitted questions. Thank you for your support. We're gonna close up the episode by just kind of talking about some fun stuff. I wanted to throw something new in here since we're doing like a special episode here for the Q&A. Do you had a cool recommendation then? Something that you want to recommend? Movie, book, video game, etc. An app?
Do I'll recommend a video game I just played last night until like 5 in the morning because I was initially starting it late and I was like I'll just put an hour in and I'll finish it another day, but I finished it all in one sitting. It is called Eclipsium. It is a like PlayStation 1 style horror that looks extremely PlayStation 1, like almost less than that, and it just follows this hand that's like kind of like POV hand this whole time, and the hand can do different things. Like it can turn into a knife. It can turn. I can go on fire. It can turn into like a hole, and then you see through it, and there's like a little like looking glass.
Whoa,
Um, there's no dialogue. It's very artsy. It's the most artsy game maybe I've ever played. Um, but it's so beautiful. There's nothing else quite like it. Like you just watch the trailer and you're like, oh, I've never seen anything like this. And it belongs in a museum. But it's really good. It's very like uh, if you're into like artistic, make you think like abstract kind of games, I really enjoyed it. I was not expecting to finish it in one sitting, but it held me down. About a 2 to 3 hour game. I have not slept. That's why I have bags on my eyes from playing Eclipsium actually. So
Jeez.
yeah,
Um,
that's my recommendation.
I was gonna recommend Arma Reforger because I think that like to me it's better than Battlefield. It's very sandboxy, but like it feels more realistic. And I know Battlefield is always kind of like worn on its sleeve that it's the more realistic FPS war game. But I'm actually going to recommend Leaf Blower Revolution. It's a idle game where you're literally like blowing leaves around, and there's so much. It's like
Okay.
Cookie Clicker without the clicking. There is like so much depth to it that I'm like, dude, I have like 170 hours into this game, and I don't know how it's still like. I feel like I'm only halfway through it. I'm trying to 100% the achievements, and I have one left. But there is like so much more to the game that I don't even know if I'm gonna play. But I definitely think I got my money's worth. I think it was like $5. Um, yeah, no, that Leaf Blower Revolution. I've been on a
Love that.
idle game kick for some, because I can just kind of like throw it on the side while I'm working. Um, but yeah, no, there you go. So I guess we both recommended a video game. There's actually a video game that I've been eyeballing, Ben, that I want to talk to you about because it could be an interesting IP to check out. But we'll talk
Mhm.
about that after.
Okay.
And then one thing each of us is looking forward to this next week. That you got? I'm looking forward to One Battle After Another. I just got tickets to see that with my
Mm,
wife on Friday. So
that's cool. I'm seeing it Monday at the Vista in,
oh,
I
I'm
believe,
jealous.
VistaVision, which is exciting.
That's very exciting. There's
Or
only like two places in the country you can see it like that or something.
yeah, or maybe not. If it's not VistaVision, it's for sure on some kind of film. But
It might be 70 millimeter,
yeah,
right? Or whatever they filmed it on. I can't remember. I know
I
that
think it's
there's
like
like a bunch of
10
different ways to see it.
Yeah, it's like 60 something millimeter is VistaVision, but then maybe it's like also the Vista usually does 35. We'll see. Regardless of seeing
Maybe
it
it's
Monday, I'm
35
excited
then,
about
yeah.
that. Trying to think what else. I don't know, man. I've been seeing a lot of Battlefield 6 Battle Royale clips. Definitely has me
They're
hyped.
not getting me, dude. I refuse. Call of
Really?
Duty and Battlefield, I am abstaining from. Armored
Oh,
Reforger all the way.
okay.
I gotta
It
get you
is
to
on
try
sale
it.
right now, so I will get it. I will get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down to try and play some tonight if you're actually up for that. I got a buddy who's like really good at it. So, uh, I guess since why not? One thing that you, I guess, are happy about that happened this last week. I finally got an office door, and it is so nice to have a door. It's
Wonderful.
if you didn't know, my office is a loft that we converted into an office, so it's like that's why it's so big. But I did not have a door, and so it's like my 18-month-old daughter will be like downstairs, like just screaming, playing with her toys, and it's like it travels up here, and just like it's so distracting.
Mm,
So it's like I'm
that's
happy to
so
have a
sweet,
door.
though.
What
Yeah.
about you, Ben?
Um, I've just been super focused, like nose to the grind. So I'm making good progress on my video game. I have been in the process of trying to find an artist, like a singer-songwriter that I can make, because the game I'm making, Sweetheart, is about like a celebrity, like a Sabrina Carpenter type celebrity, and I want to make an original soundtrack for the game. That's like really high quality and like market alongside it and sell, hopefully.
What kind of style do
Uh,
you think the score you're looking for?
so the score is going to be analog horror style. I'm referencing more video games than I am films, which is okay. But oh, and a little bit of Insidious. The
Nice.
Insidious, like
Okay.
the title reveal of Insidious is
The
a huge
violin.
influence.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah, yeah, yeah. We're gonna have
shit.
some moments like that, and I hope it's gonna be earned. It is gonna be earned. It's pretty. I've never written a scene like that where it happens. And I won't be able to talk about it much because it's pretty graphic. But like, um, I
I'm looking forward to it.
it, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's gonna be special. Anyway, I found a singer though. I'm hopefully gonna make an album or not an album, like an EP sized little project with her for it, and
Nice.
yeah, I'm excited to start pushing it out, man. Every day that goes by, I'm like, it's coming to life more and more. So,
Yeah, I forgot to mention I did get my trailer cut together, like finished for
oh,
Hunters.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm pretty happy with that. I showed it to the actors slash executive producers who funded the film, and they were like over the moon about it. So I'm glad to see that. Because I think trailers are like an art in their own self. Because you don't want to like give too much
Hmm.
away, but you also want to represent the film. And I think audiences are definitely accustomed to the style of trailers. And so
Hmm.
I try to like fit that mold at the same time, but also I'm not like a
Hmm.
trailer house, so it's like I'm just cutting this together myself.
Yeah.
But
Gotta
I'm
make
not
sure
gonna be
you reference Jordan
yeah.
Peele, put him in big letters.
Yeah. Not from producer Jordan Peele, and everyone's gonna be like, Jordan Peele made a short film.
Oh man, that's actually a really funny marketing tactic. Holy shit, you should, yeah,
I
give them
don't
a
want
taste
them
of
to
their own
come
medicine.
after me.
That's so funny.
Can you imagine going to court? It's like, Your Honor, he technically said that it's not produced by him. Very obviously,
Yeah.
people
It's
just
just a
don't
prank,
read.
bro.
Yeah, it's just a prank, bro. Uh, Jordan Peele's just like, how could you, man? I'm over here trying to make Nope 2. They just pulled it from the release schedule. Now I got to deal with this.
Dude,
You
I
heard about
genuinely
that,
hope
right?
someone, yeah, they pushed it back, right? Or it was Nope
It took it
2?
off the calendar. Supposedly, yeah.
Oh, wow. I did
Supposedly,
not know that's what it was going to be. Okay.
yeah.
Interesting.
Anyways, next episode, I think we're going to be talking about the three stages of film production. So that's pre-production, principal photography, and post-production, which I think will be a very valuable episode for anybody looking to make their first film. You got to know what those three phases entail, or you're going to be caught very off guard and run out of money, which I've seen people do with short films. They're like, I made the movie, we shot it. And then they're like, they go to cut it together and it's just like, wait, we need color, sound, and a score that costs money. And I did not plan for that. So hopefully that'll be very insightful. But it's also fun. I love talking about the three stages of film production because I love all three phases for different reasons. So look forward to that. But as always, thank you for watching. I'm Derek Bowder.
I'm Ben Escobar.
And this is the Fellowship.